Welcome back to the MA English Cafe, the best place to boost your fluency and grab a virtual coffee with us. Today, we're tackling a topic that every single person listening will need at some point: how to talk to a doctor in English. It can be a really stressful situation, but knowing the right vocabulary can make all the difference and help you get the care you need.
Exactly. And we're not talking about complicated medical jargon that only doctors use. We're talking about real, everyday English that patients use to describe what's wrong. It's all about being clear and simple. I actually have a funny story about this from when I was a kid. I fell off my bike and got this tiny, tiny scratch on my knee. But I was so dramatic.
Oh, I can already picture it.
I marched into the doctor's office with my mom and announced, "I have sustained a grievous injury." The doctor just looked at me over his glasses, trying so hard not to laugh. He asked me to describe the catastrophic event, and I told him this whole epic tale of my bike battle. He very seriously put a tiny cartoon plaster on it and told me I was very brave. My mom still brings it up at family dinners.
That's brilliant. See, even as a native speaker, the pressure of the situation can make you say weird things. I had the opposite problem once. I had this really weird headache, and I couldn't find the right words. I told the doctor, it's not a sharp pain, and it's not a dull ache. It's more of a fizzing pain?
A fizzing pain? Like a can of soda?
Exactly. He looked at me like I had three heads. He kept asking me to explain it, and I just dug myself into a deeper hole. I was like static on a TV, but in my skull. In the end, it was just a tension headache, but I think I invented a new medical symptom that day. It just goes to show how important it is to have a few key phrases ready. If you've ever had a funny or awkward doctor's visit, we'd love to hear about it in the comments. And hey, while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed to MA English.
Absolutely. The goal is to feel confident, not to sound like you're writing a medical textbook. You want to be able to answer the doctor's questions clearly. Questions like, when did the symptoms start? Or, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the pain? Are super common.
And understanding the difference between words that seem similar is key. For example, ache versus pain. An ache is usually a continuous, dull feeling, like a stomach ache or a headache. Pain is more general and can be sharp, sudden, or intense, like the pain from a cut.
That's a perfect example. Or knowing how to describe feeling unwell in general. You could say, I feel under the weather, which is a great idiom, or I feel run down, which means you're tired and lacking energy. We're going to dive into all of this, but first I think it's time for a practical demonstration.
You mean a role play?
You know it. I think I'll be the doctor this time. I've been practicing my serious over-the-glasses look.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll be the patient. Let's hope I don't have another fizzing pain.
Good morning. Please come in and have a seat. I'm Dr. Jenny. So, what seems to be the problem today?
Good morning, doctor. Thanks for seeing me. I've been feeling really unwell for the past couple of days. I just feel awful.
I'm sorry to hear that. Can you tell me a bit more about the symptoms? What exactly have you been experiencing?
Well, it started 2 days ago. The main thing is my stomach. I've had these really bad stomach cramps. They kind of come and go, but when they hit, it's a pretty sharp pain.
I see. Stomach cramps. And besides the pain, are there any other symptoms? Any nausea or vomiting?
Yeah, I've been feeling very nauseous, especially after I try to eat anything. I haven't actually been sick, but the feeling is there constantly. I also just feel really weak and fatigued, completely drained of energy.
Okay, and what about your temperature? Have you had a fever at all? Any dizziness or headaches?
I checked my temperature this morning and it was a little high, just a mild fever. No real headache, but I did feel a bit dizzy when I stood up too quickly this morning.
Right. Let's go over your recent medical history. Are you currently taking any medication? Any known allergies?
No, I'm not on any regular medication and no allergies that I know of. I'm generally pretty healthy.
That's good. Now, I want you to think back to the day before the symptoms started. Did you eat anything unusual? Anything out of the ordinary?
Let me think. The day before, oh, yeah, I did. I had a takeaway from that new place downtown. My friend said it was great, but it did taste a little off now that I think about it.
Okay, that's a very important clue. Based on what you're telling me, the stomach cramps, nausea, fatigue, and mild fever starting shortly after eating something questionable, it sounds like you have a mild case of food poisoning, or what we medically call gastroenteritis. It's an inflammation of the stomach and intestines.
Ah, I was worried it might be that. So, what should I do? Do I need a prescription for anything?
For a mild case like this, we usually don't need a strong prescription. The most important thing is to stay hydrated. You need to drink plenty of fluids. Water is best, but clear broths can also help. Avoid dairy, spicy food, and anything greasy for the next few days. Stick to very plain foods like toast, rice, or bananas.
Okay, rest and a plain diet. Got it. Is there any medicine I can get?
Yes, you can get some over-the-counter medication from the pharmacy to help with the nausea if it gets worse. I'll write down a name for you. Your body's immune system should be able to fight this off on its own within a few days. However, if the symptoms get worse, or if you're not feeling any better in 48 hours, I want you to come back for a follow-up.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, doctor.
You're very welcome. Just take it easy for a couple of days and you should be back to normal soon.
Phew, okay, role play over. Dr. Jenny, you were very convincing. I feel better already.
Why, thank you, Ben. But now for the most important part, the English lesson. Let's break down some of the key vocabulary and phrases we used in that conversation.
Let's do it. First up, describing symptoms. We used a bunch of useful words. I said I had stomach cramps, which is a specific type of pain that feels like your muscles are squeezing. I also said I was nauseous, which is the feeling that you are going to be sick.
And you mentioned feeling fatigued, which is a much stronger word than tired. Tired can mean you just need a good night's sleep, but fatigued means a deep physical exhaustion, often caused by illness. Another great one is dizzy, the feeling that the room is spinning.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the phrases we use to structure the conversation. When you started, you asked, "What seems to be the problem?" This is a very common and polite way for a doctor to ask what's wrong.
And your response, "I've been feeling really unwell," is perfect. Using the present perfect continuous tense, "I have been feeling," is fantastic for this situation. It tells the doctor that the feeling started in the past and is still continuing right now. This tense is your best friend at the doctor's office.
That's a brilliant grammar point. You could also say, "I've been having headaches," or "I've been experiencing stomach pain." It's so useful. If you're finding these little grammar tips helpful, we'd really appreciate a quick like on the video.
We would indeed. Another key area is understanding the doctor's vocabulary. I mentioned a few important terms. First, diagnosis. A diagnosis is the doctor's identification of the illness after examining you and looking at your symptoms.
And you talked about two types of medicine,
prescription and over-the-counter. A prescription is a medicine that a doctor must officially order for you. You can't just buy it. Over-the-counter, or OTC medicine, is what you can buy at a pharmacy without a prescription, like basic pain relievers or cold medicine.
Precisely. I also mentioned your medical history, which is the record of your past health, illnesses, and treatments. Doctors always ask about this to get a full picture. And finally, I suggested a follow-up, which simply means a second appointment to check on your progress.
These terms are so crucial for understanding the doctor's plan for you. The main takeaway here is that you don't need to be a medical expert. The goal is communication. Use simple, clear sentences. Focus on describing what you feel, where you feel it, and when it started.
You've summed it up perfectly. Practice these phrases and you'll be able to handle a doctor's visit in English with confidence.
And that's all the time we have for today at the MA English Cafe. We hope this lesson was helpful and makes your next doctor's visit a little less stressful.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next episode.